G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. This podcast is proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Today on the show, it's the 6 points episode. If you haven't subscribed to us wherever you listen to your podcast, please do that. Leave us a rating, leave us a review and tell your mates. All right, let's get stuck in. This is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rynne, joined by Xavier Ellis and Jake Colvin's in the seat today.
It's a real streamer takeover. I like it. Just quickly, Nick put in the chat, is it being filmed today? And then old Smackhead puts on his streamer jumper.
Well,
no, don't give me it's cold in here shit. You simply put it on near the cameras. I don't mind it.
No, we're wearing this every day. You know what I actually did that for? Because my head's too close to the lights here, so I chucked the cap on. I didn't want the reflection, you know? It's just a bit blinding.
Is that actually why you did it?
Yeah, that is actually why I did it, embarrassingly enough. I thought you got to bring it in.
Well, a bit of conversation prior to the podcast saying you were going to wear it. I would have worn it as well, mate.
Oh, the streamer jumper?
But we got the streamer
we got the notebook,
so I'm using that for my notes.
What's Nick like as a boss?
He's great. He loves footy. He speaks many different topics with me. We cover everything, don't we, Nick? Mostly work though, because we are two professional.
Reality television, power rankings.
Out of 10, how hard do you work?
12.
11. Yeah.
12's all around, mate.
All right, nice. Jake?
I just drove bloody 2 marquees up to Geraldton for the weekend.
Did you? When'd you that?
There was a fundraiser for like the GNFL juniors. So JK and Lecker played for the Northampton Rams.
Saw that.
So Andrew Lockyer.
Was that a paid gig?
No. So for them?
Yeah.
No. That was it was all the JK Foundation was a sponsor of the day. So
right.
They were actually giving back to the locals, and I think they planned to do it at some stage anyway, so they went out.
Of course.
And JK found out it's a lot easier being an old really tall bloke, than it is being an old kind of tall bloke. But Lecker couldn't get near it.
Lecker in a message said, it's taken me 37 years to realise I've played one shit game of footy.
So he said, after the game, he said, I remember being a lot quicker and better kick.
Could he not get near it?
He got a couple of touches. One set shot was an absolute dog.
Was it? Lecker, who's a beautiful kick.
Yeah, and it was probably from about 40, and it was just squibbed off to the left.
Did you get the distance? Oh, can you get me that?
I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, get me that.
But it was a great day out, and good fundraiser. Andrew Lockyer runs the AFL
Are you
Rams.
Are you talking about you just drove up it's Thursday. They played on Sunday.
I got back Monday. Mate, the week's all blending into...
It's Thursday. I thought you meant like you ducked up last night to drop it off for today or something.
No, this is why I wasn't here Monday. I drove up on the Saturday, straight after the...
This is how hard the streamer team works.
Mate, we can't remember what day it is.
I could do with a drive to Geraldton.
It was quite a nice 4 hours solitude. Unbelievable.
My boss didn't let me fly up last year because it would have meant I had to leave the radio show. It was for work.
Yeah.
15 minutes early.
Oh, I remember
I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
So I had to drive up. Then drive back.
It's not bad.
Well, there's no reception a lot of the way.
Well, you just got to download your podcast. You got to plan ahead.
Yeah, but I wasn't watching anything.
Stopped in Jurien Bay for fish and chips on the way
beautiful.
back too. Oh, yum.
And what about Nick on Monday? Ryan said Port Adelaide have to be the worst team.
I saw that to win 12
or whatever.
Disrespect.
Yeah, well, there's context to it as well because, only a very small handful of teams have won that amount of games, wasn't it?
12 in a row?
No, but there's not many.
I was going
to
say you're comparing yourself to Essendon in
like
2000.
The peak team. So if they're the worst team out of that bunch, then I'm
that's
pretty
a good
happy.
point.
But we're not making this a Port Adelaide pod, boys.
No, we're not.
I could speak about.
Is that one of your points?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's just a
soft
sore
mention
point.
in it. Yeah, there's a soft mention.
All right, well, softly then, how's your love life?
I have a life. That's about it.
Okay.
This is not pod to discuss.
Nick rang me one day and asked if a girl had broken your heart or something because you've been a bit of a sook at work. I said, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Rough chance of that.
We'd ask him directly. Colvin's love life is a pretty steady topic in the streamer team.
And well, what about 40s, who's also in around that area? That's pretty open too.
Well, is it?
Have you ever dived in with 40 around Che? I recommend it.
Okay, we'll do
I don't.
No, so Colvin's Canadian girlfriend reckons she's still stuck in Singapore. The flight didn't make it, so he's got to send her more money.
Oh, yeah. She's a Saudi princess.
The thing with the credit cards and there was a whole
visa issue, everything.
But it's a football podcast, not about me.
All right, let's go.
Kick us off, Colvin.
Well, my first point is, and I'm a Port Adelaide fan. You all know this. I think that a few of the listeners that would have jumped on when I was last featured on the Hardball Gats podcast, I did mention that I do like Port Adelaide, but Collingwood are easily the best team. This is no news to anyone. But how do you exactly beat Collingwood? Because looking at them, Xavier and Nick, what do you say their glaring weakness is? Because there's nothing that jumps off the page to me personally.
Maybe their forward line.
But it works.
I know it works. So if I had to pick something, I'd go maybe their forward line. And if their forwards have a really shit day, maybe that might leave them short in the grand final.
If one doesn't fire. Normally one of them will fire at least.
Yeah, Johnson,
Elliott.
Bobby Hill.
Elliott's in form. Bobby Hill, Mychek. McStay, you forget he's coming back. He's back, but been out. I would say maybe their forward line if it just sort of.
But would you say if their midfield's going so well, it's going to assist the forward line because if it's coming in so quickly?
Well, their midfield. Of course, their midfield, and they've just put Dacos in there, which doesn't help any other team.
Which I think it gives their forward line a greater chance every single week to perform.
No, they win the midfield, win the games. Collingwood.
Well, you remember sort of back to the 2006 sort of Eagles. Quinton Lynch was the linchpin of the forward line.
Ash Hansen.
Yeah, this is not like elite, but their midfield was just so good it didn't really matter.
Yeah. So imagine if they had a forward.
yeah.
Acoustic credit to him, he was bloody good. But imagine
and
if they had. Yeah, they did, and became a bit of a cult hero.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've done a little bit of a deep dive into the games that they've lost and games that have been within 1 or 2 goals, which haven't been many of them throughout the year.
That was all last year, wasn't it?
That was all last year. But this year, I don't think it's rocket science because the trend I'm seeing is games that they've either won by a small margin or they've lost, but they've only lost 2 to Brisbane and Melbourne. They've lost stoppage clearances.
They got smashed by Brisbane. Was that a margin?
About 30-ish points.
It was,
Dacos had 38 and 2 goals too that game.
No, that was the Dacos, when he had a look in the contest and they posted it all over social media like he's the first person in the world to have done that. And you're like, I'll take the 38 and 2.
Yeah.
And I'll cop one of them. I'll cop one of them.
And there was also watching him do kick-outs where he kicks it to someone, 25 out on a 45, gets handball received, kicks it up, and it's already at the half-forward line.
It's gone.
It's quite unbelievable. If you were at the Queens on Saturday night, you would have heard a debate about Bontempelli versus Dacos. I don't know if you were around for that one. Xavier.
I was tuning at the bar probably.
But where'd that come down? Who, did it get resolved?
I was Dacos, and then everyone's like, Bontempelli's 6'5", so he's better because he can go forward and
so
take
you're telling me
right
now?
Right
now, if you had to pick a player to go on your team, who are you picking?
I think I'm going Dacos.
Still Bont.
I'm Dacos too.
I'm Dacos,
I've swung for Dacos the last 10 weeks hard.
You're in.
Well,
I reckon there was a point about 5-6 weeks where I was like, is he still firing as much as he was at the start of the year?
And then he's like, he's off his head.
Absolute nuts.
So... lost to Brisbane. They lost stoppage, clearances and contested possessions. They beat St Kilda by a goal. I think that was at Gather Round. They lost clearances and contested possessions. They beat Adelaide by 1. They drew the contested possessions. That was a great game.
Yeah.
That one, when they lost to Melbourne, they lost the stoppage, clearances and contested possessions, but Melbourne are a great clearance stoppage team. So last time Collingwood played Port, it was an absolute bloodbath. I think they won by 12 goals. MCG, I think it was 71 points. So,
was that this season or last season?
It was this season, round 2. It was a bad day.
When Kenny was getting pressure.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
they won contested possessions by 57.
If I was Kenny, I'd sign about now too, by the way.
Yeah, just before
I think things are going to get tough.
And they smoked him in the clearance count. So if I was Ken, you'd be looking in this week going, well, that was a massive discrepancy. The way we're going to...
Did Rosie and Butters and all those guys, they wouldn't have been... Butters was underdone.
Butters... wasn't that great.
That midfield would have been Boak, Wines and Drew or someone.
Yeah, I think Wines has been carrying a little bit of injury as well.
No, but I mean, that's not your midfield you want now.
No,
what I just mentioned.
So I think they're a different team to what they were. But so the second part of this question is, and Nick, they've lost to Brisbane and Melbourne this year, 2 top 4 teams. If they were to lose to Port Adelaide, arbitrary figure, let's say lose by 3 goals.
Yeah.
Does that put any concern on you for Collingwood at all? Or does it not change them whatsoever?
Nah, not at all. And to win clearance or whatever for an average or better than average side, you might have to bring someone up to the stoppage to get an extra number. You do that, and then all of a sudden you've got Quainer, Maynard,
exactly
Moore. Now there's one of them is spare.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of those numbers or the stoppage, clearance, and contested possessions, it's not rocket science, as we said. That's not a new thing for coaches to aim for. But I don't see anything that Collingwood does that's alarm bells. I know there's alarm bells with Port Adelaide, there's alarm bells with Melbourne and Brisbane.
I think the endearing part of Collingwood is the fact that those close games, they win.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's bloody cool. And imagine saying that 5 years ago that you like Collingwood and that them winning close games is a good
It's
thing.
amazing that, Collingwood are having a dominant season and everyone loves them.
I think I punted every game last year for Collingwood to lose.
Yeah.
And I lost like 12 in a close one.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. But anyway, I love
And
it.
we all thought, the general consensus was that they probably wouldn't be able to do it again because they won so many
I had them
close
falling.
ones.
I had them falling out of the
Yeah,
four.
and they've just got better. I'll throw one in. So the talk around this week about the wild card round is a little bit. So the wild card rounds come up and the 17-6 fixture, and that tells me that Andrew Dillon, the incoming CEO, he's definitely either listens to the Sounding Board podcast or chats with Craig Hutchison regularly because they're two big Hutchie.
I wouldn't
barrows.
say though that 17-5 plus 1 or 17-5 but it was 5.
Oh yeah.
Is a new thing.
No, none of this is particularly new, but he's just been pushing these barrows for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So the wild card one, let's do a bit of a whip around thoughts initially.
Well, either
So that's 7 versus 10, 8 versus 9.
we don't need 2 buys.
Yes.
Simple as that. So if you want to buy pre-finals, there needs to be a game of footy in there or 2.
Yep.
Otherwise, scrap the mid-season buy and have you buy at the end of the year when you've earned one.
Colves?
I don't like it. I don't think they need to go with the NBA model. It's because there's been a bit of success with the NBA model, but again, we're rewarding mediocrity, in my opinion. I'm not a huge
Mate,
fan.
it's another opportunity to get the Scarborough Sporty and suck some beer.
Yeah, that's
true.
all it's about, mate.
But if they're going to do that, then have the media buy for everyone. Don't do these staggered buys. They need to scrap that and have the one there, and then they do the wild card round.
How
at the end.
boring was the buys this year? No wonder I'm worn out. No wonder
one
I'm at
cares.
breaking point.
Do the one.
Just go over 2 weeks. Thursday night footy, Friday night footy, Saturday night footy, Sunday footy, done.
That's what we talked
2
about
weeks in a
that
row.
one over where it's like that short break if you need it. But I also like the idea of finding another thing to put there, like the under-18 championship.
Yeah,
like
but
a big round or
you
something.
created Streamer, so you're always thinking.
Yeah, no, this is right. It's just
You're
the
always
latest
thinking of
concept.
other things to do. So, realistically, the team that finishes 10th is not going to win the flag.
No.
No, but
So
it
it's
gives
just
us
a game
another
of
week
footy.
of footy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Which
that's
at the moment, I'm thinking invoices, I might get one.
But if the AFL looking at this at the moment, they're going, if they all the commentators go, be careful of Richmond if they make the 8. It's
Yeah.
are we really that concerned now if Richmond make
It's
that?
all just content, mate.
So
It
the
feels
Bullies-
our
Because
lives, you know?
they're a big Melbourne club. It's like we need another big Melbourne club in the 8. Is that why they don't want, they don't really care for like a GWS to make the 8 or
Was it the Bulldogs from 7th?
Yeah, because
seven.
that happened once, and when's another team that's ever done
And
that?
how good was it? It was amazing.
It was great, but at least Bulldogs were at least around the mark for a lot of it. Because I'm pretty sure weren't they 5th and then they dropped to maybe 7th because they lost a game or 2.
Well,
towards
they
the end.
All
got
those
smashed,
blokes were
they got
injured.
smashed in
Yeah.
over here against Freo.
Yeah.
Pav's last game, I think.
and then brought 6 blokes back in the next
and they all
final,
came back and beat West Coast.
I honestly think it's because if those the Geelong and the Richmonds of the world, if they're floating around that 9 or 10 mark, that they want to try and get more big Melbourne clubs.
Well, no, I think
in
it's
the
just
8.
another couple of games of footy, mate.
And what happens when there's an extra couple of games of footy?
Yeah, cash.
Cash.
Yeah, money.
Yeah. But also, I tell you, those games late in the season where finals are on the line, they're exciting. So it just gives you 2 more where it's genuinely
There's
you can
no
make it or you
excitement
don't.
in WA this year for footy.
No, we need a little bit of.
We need something.
We need to import a little bit.
Well, flights are at least cheap to go from WA to the grand final, which I have booked already.
Yeah, I know.
What game was that? Port beat who?
Geelong. When
Yeah,
they
right.
came back.
Yeah.
I booked it at 3/4 time and messaged Xavier.
All right, last night when I was considering, do I watch the cricket? Do I look after my kids? Do I cook dinner for everyone? I was like, no way. I'm going to have a deep dive into the Sydney Swans.
Right.
All right. Now, of course, Sydney Swans played in the grand final last year.
Yep.
I think they're a little bit like the Bulldogs and a little bit like the Giants, primetime Giants. Mm-hmm. They got too many mouths to feed in the midfield. Way too many mouths to feed. Now, you wouldn't have thought that about Sydney because you say, Parker and Mills or whatever. But here we go. So Parker does about 80% of centre bounces.
Yep.
So he has to be in there all the time. Rowbottom does about 60%. And I wouldn't say Rowbottom's a star, would you?
No, workhorse.
Workhorse.
Great role player.
Yep. Chad Warner, who's their best player, I would say, does about 60%.
Most talented. We say best or
Wait, is
most
he
talented?
their best?
Best. Who's their best?
Who's the best?
Wait, are you talking about best midfielder or best player?
Well, who's their best? Well, it can't be a defender or a forward.
Errol?
Well,
Well, Errol's been good the last couple of weeks. I'm still going Chad.
Okay. Well,
I'm still
Errol,
going with
but-
Chad.
I'm Errol.
I'm Chad. Anyway, so Chad, I'll just say equal best player.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that
narrow
means
second.
Goulden doesn't get in there. So I know he's a wingman, but I think for Sydney to be better,
He needs to be in the
he
game.
needs to be in the middle doing his thing, and getting, because if you've got Errol Goulden out in the wing, There's a couple of games he's had 35, and there's a couple where he's had 15. At least in the midfield, you know he's going to get the opportunity. So Earl needs to go in. Where does Mills go? So at the moment, he's going chippity, chip, 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 get it one on the short 45, might drop back into defence. Not really doing anything, is he?
I took Mills in my fantasy team very early in a draft, and he has been really bad.
Horrible.
Really bad.
Angus Sheldrick, is that a bit of a breakout year?
Yeah, so he needs to get
So
some
then
minutes.
where can he play?
Yeah,
He
he's
can't
only
play anywhere
midfield.
else.
They tried him as a forward pocket.
It doesn't work. Dylan Stevens, where was he drafted?
Yeah, as a
Pick 5.
Yeah, top 10 pick.
Can't get in. No
He's
waste
not
of
an
time
inside.
there.
He's more of a wing.
And then you put in Ollie Florent.
Yeah,
We're not drafting pick 5 a wingman.
adds in the midfield.
You know,
Next.
no, but I'm just Gordon's stuck there at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you go, they love putting Ollie Florent in there for a look. Papley does a lot, and so does Isaac Heaney.
You're right. It's a lot of mouths to feed.
Too many mouths to feed at Sydney. Maybe they need to get on the old butcher's hook and move a couple on for a couple of Johnny Nobles.
You actually forgot one of their best players. Best kick in the comp, Braden Campbell.
Braden.
Yeah, but he's
I love him.
I do love him too. Actually,
He's going to be absolutely.
I said that he should have been a throw at stumps,
Where do you think he's going to end up, like position wise?
half back.
I think halfback is just got a cannon.
he is a beautiful player.
He is a very.
I love him.
And imagine when he goes from 15 disposals to 22 or something like that. My goodness, he's going to be a nice player. But anyway, that's why a synopsis on Sydney Swans and why they're battling. It's just a little bit
So who would
disjointed.
you, if you came at the end of the year, they said, we got to put 2 on the table. Who are they? Is Mills one?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
What would you get for Mills?
You probably get a first rounder,
Oh,
right?
shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2.
Well, Mills is a great player.
Yeah, no,
Like,
Mills
he's
is
a really good player.
Yeah.
But I'm of the same. It's like, you know how like Bevo was playing, Dunkley, ruck and doing all these weird things. Like McRae's playing half forward now. It's like Mills,
Bailey Smith.
his best position. Where do you think Mills is? He's a
Centre.
midfield on ball.
Centre.
On ball.
Yeah.
Then you know what? Well, Richmond aren't going to be able to afford Mills because they've got picks tied up in Toronto and money and all that kind of
They
stuff.
don't
in
need a
Hopper as
Mills
well.
to Toronto,
But
but,
I mean, I don't know what club he would go to, but I'm sure a big Victorian club.
Oh, imagine him at Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Hello.
And we're just talking a bit of Narnia, so don't anyone
Yeah,
take
don't
it.
aggregate this, please.
But imagine Mills at Adelaide.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
I think Elliot Yeo should look at getting to Adelaide somehow.
Yeah,
but-
that would fit. If his body holds up, it'd be a very nice.
Yeah.
place.
Anyway, Sydney Swans, I've got an eye on you because you come into Perth this week, and I've also found a couple of bucks for you to finish top 8 at $8. Let's go, Swannies.
All right. Well, you've semi-stole my thunder on the top 8 thing, but I'll move across to my point. Is the GWS added fantastic?
it's a battle
win.
of the bridge.
We watched.
Oh, does that mean they wear those sick jumpers again? GWS, like
the
blackout ones.
charcoal ones.
GWS
They're
are fast becoming a team you want to support.
Yeah.
Yeah, love them. They've got a few rogue players that if you saw them on the street, you wouldn't know who they
God,
are. So like sometimes when we play Warple in the mornings, Nick,
Yeah.
there always seems to be a GWS player I've never
Have you played Warple?
seen or heard of.
Oh, is that like Wordle?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
it's like a
it's
silhouette
great.
of a player, and you got to
Yeah.
you got all the positions.
Oh, silhouette
and
of a
everything.
player.
Yeah,
Great way to start your day. I think it was Connor Iden was the other day, which I had no idea who that was. But moving across, I did a ladder predictor to finish the season.
You don't know who Connor...
He's good.
No,
He's
the silhouette. I was like, I had no idea what
Yeah.
the silhouette because usually they're quite obvious.
He
to
signed like a
call.
5-year
But I
deal or
know who
something.
Connor
That's a
Iden
bit
is.
too long
but
for me.
Not a
Connor, but anyway.
not a bad player. I've done a ladder predictor. I think the top 4 speaks for itself, more or less. Then I got Geelong finishing 5th,
Mate, you got Melbourne as the last in the 4.
Brisbane.
But
Brisbane
Melbourne,
is 4th.
where did Melbourne
Melbourne are in
finish?
there.
Melbourne finished 3rd.
Okay.
Coles is new
But
to footy.
again, and this is my ladder predictor.
Yeah.
So this is what I've done.
Are you sure you didn't get
Okay.
off Gil McLaughlin? Or
I
anything?
could have got off Andrew Dillon potentially. Geelong 5th, the Dogs 6th, Essendon 7th.
No, Essendon fall out.
But again, this is dependent on a few things.
Yeah,
Zach.
I don't mind a bit of this.
I
of the
think they
weekend,
could fall
obviously.
out, but this is, again, my ladder predictor.
Okay, yeah, yours?
And I've got the Giants finishing 8th.
Yeah, I like it.
So they're 9 and 8 at the moment. I've got them finishing 12 and 11 and going 3 and 3 and still making it. So they've got Gold Coast at home. They've got
50-50.
50-50, but you'd think they
Oh,
should.
60-40.
They,
60,
they,
okay,
they
60-40.
should beat them. And then they got the Dogs at Mars, which you'd think in Ballarat.
60-40 the other way.
I
Yeah,
think the
or
Dogs should
70-30.
take care of that.
It's very cold.
They got Sydney at Canberra,
50-50.
but you would say GWS would probably go
Giants
on
don't win in Canberra. They shouldn't sell those games.
They got Port Adelaide Oval.
That's a win to the Giants.
Okay. They got Essendon at Canberra again.
They'll beat Essendon.
And then they got Carlton at Marvel, which I actually think could go
Under the roof.
That
Wait,
as well.
so do they don't play at their home ground again? When do they do that?
Well, they got
one
3
game
home
and then
games:
that's it.
Gold Coast, Sydney, and Essendon all at home,
But you said they're at Canberra.
or whatever their
But so they don't play at the showgrounds again.
Well, whatever their home game was. I just got them.
They do have a camera in there, I'm sure.
But whatever their home games are there. So
I was going to say, I spent $600 on a membership for my brother. He'd want to be bloody getting some home games.
So he's going to do a bit of a drive.
Them finishing 8th is hugely dependent on Port being in Adelaide in the showdown, because Adelaide are one of those teams that are around the cusp of the 8. And then St Kilda probably falling down, losing to like your Richmonds of the world at Marvel. So there's a couple of games there which is hugely dependent, because GWS's percentage is pretty poor. And in that ladder predictor, I haven't fully accounted for, like, I've just done rough margins.
And
I haven't.
I was thinking in my head, when do they get the Eagles? But they're the ones who lost to them, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to Eagles round 2, but they came from that horror game.
No Lockie Whitfield and no Josh Kelly in that game.
Yeah, you're still in hindsight.
So I think
they've got 1 in Canberra and 2 in Sydney.
At Sydney, okay. Well, there you go. So I think 3 and 3 is probably realistically what they'll do, but there's every world that they can go 4 and 2 and seriously lock in a top 8 spot. Orange Tsunami. I'm in.
We love that.
Another big talking point from the week was Harley Reid. So I think it was Sam McClure floated it on their podcast of the week that's the noise that's been bubbling around, as Harley Reid is reluctant to come to the Eagles. End of the day, he doesn't get a say.
Yeah.
So if they draft him, he's got to stay here for 2 years at least.
Yeah.
General thoughts on it? I think it's okay for that to come out.
But are we just assuming that this is fact?
Well, the Eagles are saying no one's indicated, but everybody lies around this time of year.
But
anyway.
Eagles are saying they spoke to his manager too.
Yes, but everybody lies around this time of year. Like, I think that's a shock.
Well, but wouldn't you? But if you were his manager, wouldn't you be saying to West Coast pretty quickly in the piece, "Hey, we don't want to bring this into we don't want to blow this right up."
Yeah, but you should trade pick
but
one.
I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah. So there's sometimes it comes obvious. I remember one of their recruiters I was chatting to a while ago said, like, there was one. Oh no, it was that kid who's at Essendon. What's his name? He had the long hair, Perkins, who just stopped returning calls.
Yeah, didn't want to leave Melbourne.
Didn't want to leave Melbourne, but genuinely just stopped returning calls and cancelled a couple of meetings on West Coast.
I just did a little bit of Harley Reid then. And someone said, "Oh, he's got to leave home. He's from bloody Tongala." Unless the Tongala Knights are joining the AFL, Harley, you're moving anyway.
Yeah, I think you just got to. Well, it's up to them to decide whether they wanted the 2 picks early anyway.
So,
but isn't the one who might trade up for it, who has the best hand, is GWS? So
no, they don't. No, they don't.
They don't anymore.
No, they want. I'll tell you, who's got the best hand, North Melbourne.
What do they got?
Well, Ben Mackay's going to leave, and that's going to be pick 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remember when I crystal balled that a couple of weeks ago? Real crystal ball stuff.
Did you?
Just felt it, and I rang West Coast and said, "Hey, just letting you know, this is on the cards."
2-3.
Is Ben Mackay getting treated like he's like
Is he any good?
Scarlett?
No, of course. Mate, outrageous.
I'm
Same as
so
Harry
perplexed.
Himmelberg's in that category.
Yeah.
Look,
Bits of role player.
Yeah, 900.
He's 900. Some of these are, I figure, in the same Adam Tomlinson mould.
100%. They all
Melbourne.
are.
Now he's not getting a game and he's trying to get out.
Well, Nick, on that point, if they do, let's say they draft Harley Reid and he does go to the West Coast, how does their list strategy change if they get Harley Reid?
Doesn't.
It does, because you get a good return from him in 2 years anyway.
I know, but are you trying to keep a few more mature bodies like a Yo around to assist with him in the midfield, or but are you just going super young and just let him?
Oh, I'd keep Shuey in those guys, but look, it's a myth the whole keep older bodies around to show them what to do. I'll give you the hot tip. The old bloke doesn't want to give his spot up to the young bloke.
Yes,
your mates or whatever. But if it's
no, but I mean just in terms of your team maturity.
No,
as
I
a
know
whole.
that, but they're going to be shit anyway.
These
and
18
matches come into it a little bit more as you get older and your contract shrinks.
Yeah, your contract goes from set wage to matches.
But is it worth getting a bit more experience into the team? So at least
I know what you're
structurally,
saying.
they could still be really bad, but at least them as a potentially a 13th place team.
But no, because they're going to keep this some. They can't get rid of all the old guys at half the list, so they're going to keep some
but
anyway.
Is it exploring and going around saying, this person's played, 80, 90, 100 games AFL football.
I know we spoke about this the other night. So Petreski-Seaton's one of those. Do we need him on the list? Jaden Hunt? You need Jaden Hunt on the list?
I think another, I'm not saying a Jaden Hunt type player in terms of the position he plays, but someone who's played in the AFL system.
No, but they've been nice enough, but they're not helping.
But instead of playing these guys from the Waffle team that have barely played AFL football and get thrown to the wolves, and it just, I think structurally as a team, potentially do they need a few more experienced players?
If I was given the keys to the West Coast list, anyone with trade value is going, and I don't care if the average age of the team's 21 next year.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Bottom out.
Yeah, and bottom out and quick as you can, and who knows, you might end up with pick 2, 3,
Well, yeah, you'd have to get something back to that,
7,
right?
10.
Because 2, 3, 1 equal 1. So there'd have to be something else.
Go again.
Like you pick 2 and 3 for pick 1. There'd have to be something else going back to North Melbourne.
I don't think so.
You, 2,
Well,
3,
we haven't heard more hype about a kid than Harley Reid ever.
yeah, true, but so you can't.
Well, just think about the
overpay. What if
NBA.
he's no good.
Well, think about Wemby in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, you'd give 2 and 3.
Of course you would.
But a
it's-
singular
but
player
Harley
doesn't
Reid-
have the effect in the AFL.
Harley Reid's got that hype.
He does.
We've never had more hype about a number 1 draft pick ever.
No, and who like now? You see, there is a generation of like content around those 18s, which is growing, particularly when.
But
they're
even
playing
like,
Harley Reid.
and I know NBA, different game, but like Zion, Memphis would have been a heartbeat flicked, got 2 and 3
yeah,
somehow.
but that's, one player makes more of a difference in the
I know
NBA
what you're
than
saying,
it does here.
but we haven't seen someone with such a reputation coming into football.
no
one.
No, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's why I think.
And he might not even be like he's
But
not
that's-
even the consensus number 1 anymore, like best player.
Yes, he is.
No, someone take Ched.
Bullshit.
No, it's going to be
Mate,
split.
the people using these drugs at the moment, what are they doing?
it's a scourge.
Just to piggyback quickly off the back of that, what do we think about contracts for kids? The automatic 2-year contract. Do we think it should be 4 years to prevent players from saying, I'm leaving? Should it be 1 year?
I think it's 4.
Why?
Well, because then you're not.
And I'm not.
I
I just want to extend it.
Because you lose that that conversation straight away. Oh, he's going to go home. Like, well, mate, you got a 4-year contract. So
But North Melbourne did pretty well out of getting rid of Horn Francis, not getting rid of like when Horn Francis jumped.
Yeah, but he was contracted as well. So I'd have to check, but he probably extended early. They normally do that with the high picks. It's like a roll straight into a 2-year extension.
Horn Francis didn't.
Didn't he?
No, I don't think so. That's why it was so easy.
Yeah, okay. But I still think like then they could have got a better return if he had more years on the table.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think he re-signed for longer at Port Adelaide when he got there.
Yeah, right.
I
Changed
think.
his contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did a 3 or 4 year
When he got
deal
to Port.
when he got there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But no, I think that you just lose this entire conversation and this whole homesickness thing just goes out the
But
window.
should-
If you sign up, you're getting 4 years.
But what
wherever
if
you
I
are.
sent you to the Geraldton Times and said, mate, you're there for 4 years?
I choose a different career.
But
Although actually, Geraldton was quite nice. Had
I
a
got
lovely dinner at Saltdish.
I got chased around the town at like 3 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning going to work by a meth head.
Really?
Up there, yeah. I was going through the Macca's drive-through to get my morning coffee, and I was in a brand new Ranger, like and the other fancy lights, like the the new cars have those headlights that are quite bright.
Yeah.
The bloke accused me of so yelling out the window that my lights were too bright in his mirrors. Waited for me as I came out, and then chased me.
So
Lovely
would you say if this NBA player empowerment era wasn't so prevalent, would you say that this wouldn't be as big a thing in the AFL? Because I reckon all these young kids, they watch NBA, they see it's not exactly the same, but I actually reckon they take a little bit of inspiration from that and just going, I want to stay home. And obviously there's different factors and we don't know. But
3
But
years
more
I'd
of
be
a
happy
career.
with, not 4.
Yeah, I could do 3.
I think 3
but
years.
You could go if you went to 4. I mean, there's sort of sparking my own argument a bit. But if you went to 4, there'd have to be some more wiggle room around free agency.
Yeah.
So longer
6
first up
years,
contract,
say.
but you get an early call on where
Well,
you
but
go.
even like just have a good footy club, no one leaves.
Well, yeah, this
That's
is
my
right, and this
theory
is
in
why
life.
it comes into this like the player empowerment thing. It's just people taking ownership of their careers
How
because
many-
they know the footy club. If they're going no good, footy club will not care about
How many
them.
of their own choice leave good clubs?
Yeah,
Can we
not
think of
very
any
few.
recently?
There'd be a couple.
Do you know what I mean, like
along
Brody
the way.
Grundy left, but not to his doing. But
No,
they
no,
moved
no.
him.
Yeah. It's ones who just wanted it to change.
Yeah.
There's probably is there anyone that
Gary Ablett to Gold Coast?
Gary Evans at Gold Coast? That was yeah.
But like, hard to find many. I mean,
Well,
that
it's
was
like the
10
best
years
player in
ago.
the comp at a new expansion club. So obviously, I think that was a couple of dollars on his contract. So.
It may be one
But,
or
Joe,
two.
man, like, that's a long
Wasn't
time
it like
ago.
$2 million a year?
Could have been.
Someone mentioned that.
They probably
$2 million a year.
Probably played as well as $2 million players
Oh,
play,
absolutely, mate.
though. Some of those games are massive.
Yeah, bang for your buck is. Is the medal named after him yet? I think it is, isn't it? The best of fairest.
Oh, nah, it's a good question. Anyway, keep talking.
Oh, maybe I think it was Goose Maguire left St Kilda to go to Brisbane.
Yeah,
potentially. maybe that was one.
there's one.
Maybe he was off a broken leg too.
He was off a broken leg,
Yeah. No, there wouldn't be many. I'm trying to think. Oh no, Luke Ball, but he was kind of forced out of St Kilda.
Well, he left because he forced out, wasn't
He
getting
just
a game.
wasn't getting a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably not too many who leave good clubs that are going well.
Hanbury.
Yeah, was he going well?
Yeah, I'll take Hanbury. Yeah, I'll take Hannes.
There's one.
There's one.
Judd, but it was not a bad time.
But we're talking about 10 years ago, longer.
yeah, oh, you mean just recently?
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Just have a good footy club.
It's okay, now it's time for...
Hardball Bets. Thanks to the Tab Touch app.
All right, Coles, you're going to dip in for Robbo, mate. Were you aware of this?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well, you find a bet and I'll roll in early. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. And I'm going to go our man Zach Merritt, Zave's man Zach Merritt, to have 35-plus touches on Friday night, paying $3.40. Hopefully boost my coffers a little.
What have you gone? 30.
Zach Merritt, 35-plus. Does he get 35 off him? He does. He's been in a hot. Last week he was a bit down, but he's been in a hot.
Yeah,
hot streak.
I love him.
35 plus. $3.40 he was paying.
Take that.
I'll take a bit of value.
Take that, absolutely.
Why not? I think no one's. If everyone's been paying attention to this segment throughout the year, no one's hanging on following me.
No one's following yours.
I'm pretty safe in what I do.
All right, thanks for giving me all the notice for
No worries at all.
for the bet. I haven't been able to go into the possessions. I do love a possession bet, but I'm just going to put head-to-head Brisbane, Port Adelaide, Melbourne, all winning their games, going at $3.97. Bang. We'll
Love
call it $4. Easy.
Just dropping the phone. All right, so that was
Port
Hardball
Adelaide, they
Bets.
won't get within 5 goals.
Got the touch this AFL season? Choose Tab Touch. Gamble responsibly. Call Gamblers Help on 1-800-858-858. And this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show, proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do you. We'll see you next time.